and call the meeting to order. We officially have 5 people, so we have quorum. So moving on to roll call.
Yep, and I'm actually doing the time stamping again through our software, so bear with me as I go through all of this, but we'll do roll call. So Eileen Flynn.
Here.
Essie Snell.
Here.
Jonathan Koffler.
Here.
Caitlin Stafford. James Zarski. Mike Henshin. Michelle Horton.
Here.
Lisa Skumatz.
Here.
And Howard Fisher. All right.
All right, thank you. Are there any suggested amendments to the agenda?
So I don't know if anyone else has any. I do have a few. I'm just going to add 3 things underneath new business and updates. B will be to talk about July 4th. C is the WaterWise seminar through Resource Central. I have a date and some info on for that. And then a D will be the update on the reappointments. And I have all of that recorded.
Excellent.
So if you want to approve, yeah.
Okay.
Or if there's anything else.
All in favor? Perfect.
Perfect.
All right, then to public comment. Doesn't look like we have any.
I think there is.
New business updates. So we'll start off with newsletter items. That's over here, maybe. Yeah. Are there any particular items that we should focus on from this month's?
So I think everything's pretty much typically the same, and I'm assuming that everyone is getting the e-blast that the town sends out as well. There's been a couple that have gone out as far as the WaterWise programs and just stuff that are pertaining to our committee.
Can I ask a question about that? Is that related to the thing that I got a call about from Home Depot as well? Okay. Home Depot. I don't know if Home Depot, you know how these people say, you filled out a survey? And you're going, no, I didn't, but my husband might have. So that's right. He almost never does, but he might have. But I got a call from Home Depot, and they're doing some audits as well of some kind. And they're giving you like a free, $10 gift certificate or something for their place, and they'll come and do an audit. They're coming doing an audit, so I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I felt like if Jim did that, I suppose I should follow up, so. If being the big if. Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry. No, that's okay.
That was fine.
Perfect. So then we'll move on to the updates that I wanted to give. So as far as our next event, so July 4th is obviously right around the corner. And so I just wanted to talk with everyone and find out, first of all, if we do want to have a booth and if we feel like we can share with other committees or if we feel like we need our own separate. So just, we can discuss.
Who all is available for July 4th? Is anyone free then, or?
Out of state.
Okay.
I can't do that day.
Okay, it's gonna be challenging for me. Yeah, okay.
So it sounds like maybe not a booth this year?
Or maybe we can have some materials that are shared with the other advisory committees.
Sure,
so we
I
still
can,
have the materials
yeah.
available, but if no one's available, then it's not the end of the world.
Well, definitely, and as far as recruitment goes, I always have the recruitment flyers that'll be out there, and since we will have a position open, I will make sure that those are there.
Okay, excellent, thanks.
Maybe we could just be smarty pants and just put sponsored by ACES on all like the recycling centers and everything like that, and that's our presence.
We'll just brand everything sustainable related to the event.
Excellent. So then the next thing I wanted to update you all on is the WaterWise seminar through Resource Central. So if you click down at the bottom, Essie, there's a Facebook post. I think it's there you go. So this is the Evite, and I will email all of this out to you guys so that you guys can share this with your networks as well. But this is the WaterWise seminar that we all selected at our last meeting last month. And the date that was selected was Tuesday, July 30th, and it will be held at the sports stable from 6 to 8 p.m. So if everyone can try and put that, because the more presence we have from the committee, the better off we are. So, but I know that Resource Central will also do a bunch of advertising as well. When I first started here a year ago, we did the composting seminar through them and the room was packed. So I know, I pretty much have a feeling that this one will be too.
And when they do them, it's for anybody in their network, so it isn't, so the sooner we get it out, the more likely it is to be our town residents. And not trying to exclude anybody, but just,
Exactly.
okay.
Hello,
Yes.
bouncer.
Yes.
Cool, thanks.
So yeah, so make sure you add that to your calendars.
Karen, do people have to RSVP? Is there like a ticket or a registration or? It says tickets, but I don't
So
know.
I think you can click on it. This is live.
Where,
Find,
let me see.
down one.
Oh, there it is, right
Oh,
there. See the
I see.
tickets
Sorry.
above? So I think that may go to the, yep, so register here. It is
Okay.
free, obviously, but I do remember with the composting one that they did take registration, so we knew what our attendance was gonna look like.
I
So-
believe that one even sold out too. So
It
that's
did,
another
because there's
reason to-
only, I think there's 45 to 50 chairs that we have in that room,
Mhm.
and it was packed.
Cool. That's great.
All right.
So yeah, I want to make sure we get that out to everyone. And then the only other update that I had was that at the town board meeting on Monday, the reappointments, I'm sure you all saw the email, but just so we can make it official, Caitlin and Mike were both reappointed through June of 2022. And then, I'm not sure if you're all aware, but tonight is Michelle's last meeting. She has completed her terms.
Expired.
You've expired? Oh, no.
So I just,
I know,
Yes.
we've been together on and off for a while.
Yes, I just want to thank Michelle for everything you've provided over the years
It's
and
been
everything you've
fun,
helped
seriously,
with.
and I'm really gonna miss this like reboot. But I can reapply after a year? or
after 1
something?
year, you can reapply for this
All right,
committee.
so maybe we'll see you again sometime.
Maybe.
We'll be
Yeah.
here.
No, you guys are heading in a great direction, so I'm really, really looking forward to seeing it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks again.
And Michelle will be recognized with a proclamation at a town board meeting. It'll be one of the meetings in July. And we'll make sure that you guys are all aware of that as well.
Excellent.
So perfect, that's all I had for updates.
Okay. So I think with that, we can go ahead and move into discussion items. And so first up is a discussion with Alex, who's joined us from the staff to talk about EV consulting.
Hello, Alex Bullen, town staff, Public Works Department. I work on a lot of different projects for Public Works, and a couple years ago I worked on the project to replace 3 older electric vehicle charging stations in town with newer models. The older ones just weren't working anymore and they weren't making parts. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that project or the stations that we have, or share what knowledge I have about electric vehicle charging in general.
Excellent, thanks. So one of the conversations we've been having recently is about trying to figure out where there might be room for additional charging stations in especially the downtown Superior area. So we've been looking at various options, including getting a consultant to come and help provide some input. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions or input on that?
Not a lot. We've had similar conversations. Haven't really come up with a concrete plan. Every year or so, the Regional Air Quality Council issues grants for electric vehicle charging stations. So we get the emails and think, oh, well, it'd be nice to have them here, and it'd be nice to have them here, but hasn't ever really gone anywhere.
Okay.
And I know Mike Henshin is usually spearheading this
Yep.
this topic, and he's not with us this evening, so I'm not sure if others have questions or.
Is there any thought towards infrastructure being in place, like just maybe having access to underground power lines in certain locations in case you decide to?
Sure, yeah, it's definitely part of the discussion. It's a lot cheaper if you know you're going to install a station at a location. It's a lot cheaper to put the infrastructure in place while it's being built. You know, if you're talking about new areas, than it is to rip out existing concrete roadways, et cetera. And City of Boulder and Boulder County in our area, they were looking at adding some requirements in their code, zoning requirements, building code requirements, to make new buildings EV ready or new areas EV ready. So that would be having the lines in place with the capacity to serve a station, having the breaker box on the building with the capacity, because they pull quite a load. So just having that in place and good to go. I don't know the specifics of how far they've taken it. When I was working on the project to get these stations in place, that was part of the discussion. So I don't know if they've enacted it, but I did pull up
Right, and
on
it's
the
gonna-
browser there.
I don't know if you want to pull it up or do you want to
Would you like
drive?
the-
I can give it,
Oh, sure,
pass
yeah.
this over.
Do you want the keyboard as well, or the mouse?
No, this should be fine.
Okay.
So one of the things that City of Boulder and Boulder County did, they went in together to have a study done on EV infrastructure adoption. And I sent this over to Karen. She can probably distribute it. But they were looking at these same issues. So what are we looking at here? You know, retrofitting this as a home, but that applies to any area. Retrofitting areas to install charging stations, it costs a lot more than if you can get it in during new construction. So you do have to have some foresight and know where you want to have it. Multifamily housing. Let's see here. This might just be worth a look. It talks about modifying the building code. This is like a 90-page document or so that they had an independent party pull up for them. So I wish I knew more about the specifics, but we just glazed the surface on the workshops and things that we went to for this project.
No, I think that's interesting because I wasn't aware that Boulder was even sort of talking about it like that. And that's a really staggering number. I don't think that reflects our area as much, but that 46% of multifamily housing.
Yeah,
That's just
definitely
amazing. In Boulder, that makes sense. It's a very
Right.
different thing. Do you know of any plans or anything like that for the town center? I mean, it's weird that, but I guess I just don't know where you guys are correlated. So does the town have any specific plans of putting charging stations in the town center, or?
Not
you do
that I
detach
know
from that
of.
entirely?
I mean,
Okay.
it's been talked about as a nice thing to have. I don't know how far those conversations have gone with the developers and owners and the department heads.
It's a thing. I know that's been one of Mike's big hits, wasn't it?
We've tried adjusting the commercial building codes in the past, but that's been kind of an uphill battle, so I'm not sure that that's as feasible of a avenue as it is for Boulder.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Makes it challenging. Sorry, do you have something?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it seems that time is of the essence a bit here, and if they're
Yeah.
losing time, if we're going to get that in place and have it be cheaper and, more efficient to do it now.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure
Right.
where I'm not sure how much progress we've really made towards moving it forward, but I know Mike's not here either, so.
Yeah.
Right, and I know that this document does have quite a bit of information. Alex was sharing it with me before the meeting started, and so I'll send that out to you guys. And so I know that this is a big topic and it's on your work plan, so this would definitely be something that you could do the research on and put something together as far as a recommendation to the town board for what they might do, based on what Boulder has done, based on what other surrounding communities have done, even as far as building code goes. We can always make a recommendation. We can always bring it up to them and put it out there, but I will definitely forward this information on to you, and maybe Mike has other information, and then we can kind of come together or you all can come together and put a recommendation together that we can then forward on to the town board.
Okay.
Alex, you said this is this document from, did I see 2015 on there somewhere? So
yeah, up here
So
on
it's
the top.
possible that things have moved forward to some degree with this in Boulder, if we wanted to use that as an example, or?
I think it has. I've just,
Yeah.
you hear things, but I haven't looked into the code to see what verbiage they put in there.
And actually, so SWEEP is based out, that's the organization, the Southwest Energy Efficiency Project. They're based, I believe, in, at least they have a Boulder office. So maybe we could have some of them come in to provide some feedback too on their thoughts. Have you seen any specific, or do you know what the specific language used in the Boulder's building code is?
No.
About EVs? Okay.
No.
That might be something to look into as well. Okay.
Yeah, and this document talks about recommendations for building code amendments and then zoning
Okay.
requirements.
Okay.
So
that could actually just
two
help
different
us.
ways of requiring it for new development.
Okay, cool.
And the other thing Alex had brought to you, I don't know if you want to pull up the EV charging station from outside. There's a ton of data.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just didn't know if you wanted to share that
Sure,
with
yeah.
everyone.
This is kind of on a different tangent, unrelated to getting new
Getting
stations
new
in.
stations,
But
right.
the stations that we have now, they're charge point stations, and they're pretty neat as far as the amount of data you can get out of them. I can just show you a few examples.
Publicly available on their website, or?
No, it does require a login, and I think you might be able to configure it to put that information out there. I mean, they basically told me, whatever you dream it, you can do it. It's just a matter of doing it, and some of it takes some programming expertise and, et cetera. So what I have pulled up here, this is the station over at Community Park on Sycamore Street. We're looking at energy use over the last 30 days on individual days, and then an accumulated total, and then you can look at it by different time periods. And then this is just one of this dozen or so reports that you can run. So you can look at the energy use, you can look at the amount of, this one is the unique driver. So if you're wondering, we have this much energy use, is it 2 cars using it? Is it 90 cars using it? You can run this unique drivers report. And as soon as this
Starts
loads, you'll see.
Oh, wow.
Okay, let's see.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting.
a lot.
wow.
So I think, again, we're looking by week here. 45 unique drivers here, 49 this week, 56 Memorial Day weekend, maybe.
This is still just that single location?
I think so, but it's saying number of ports is 6, and there's 2 ports per station. So maybe this is for all 3 of them.
But still, I mean, if we have
At the park,
56
that is, yeah. So we have more
Yeah.
than 6.
Yeah, so there's the one here in Sycamore, the one right out here, and then one at Community Park.
Oh, those are the only 3 stations in the town? I thought there
Mhm.
was more.
There are more. These are the only 3 that the town owns.
Okay.
There are some privately owned ones, like over by, IHOP.
Costco,
There's one over
yeah.
there, and they're scattered throughout.
Okay.
If ACES comes forward with a recommendation to the town board, adding some type of this data to give the town board a baseline would be great. I didn't know we had this info available to us. This was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Alex, do you know on this, can you print reports? So like if the group wanted a specific report, can I ask you to pull it and we can get it?
Yeah, you can. I think so.
Oh, there you go,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been a while since I've done any of these, but in theory, you can punch out CSVs and
Okay.
convert them to Excel and make your own graphs and
Like the images.
do those things.
That's it, right?
Or, you can just take a screenshot of this. I mean, this one is, it's got the numbers over here, so.
Do you know if there's any interesting trends over time, like over a couple of year period for either unique drivers or energy consumption?
It's hard to say because these stations were already in place
Okay.
when these charge points were installed. So everyone already knew that they were there.
Gotcha, okay.
And as far as they were concerned, it was just, the only difference is there's a screen that says, welcome. So,
And the towns are still free, correct?
correct, yeah.
There's no plans to change that you're aware of?
Well, the town pays for the power.
Right.
They're free for the drivers.
'Cause that's probably part of the attraction.
And there's all kinds of rate plans. You can do whatever you want with rate plans. You can have a flat rate, you can have minute of charging, you can say the first hour is free, and then you start paying after that if you're getting people sitting on spots and not turning over like they should. You can use that as a way to enforce, okay, well, you get your charge, and then you start paying, and that can be $1, or you can make it $40 if you really want people to get out of the spot. There's a lot of flexibility in terms of what you want to offer and how you want to enforce the turnover, because you definitely want turnover with it, right? You don't want people sitting on it all day, because they'll get their charge, and then it won't continue to charge, but they'll still be in the spot. And some vehicles have locking mechanisms in the charging port, others don't. So, sometimes people will pull up and they'll pull it out of the other car because they think it's full or they know it's been there for a while, but some vehicles, you can't do that. So they basically
Yeah.
lock down the charging station.
They need to do that at DIA. People leave for a week, 2 weeks, and you're like, wow, that's great. I can't plug in
Oh,
just to
wow.
go pick somebody up. So hence, the whole purpose of having them out there is defeated.
Oh,
So,
I think
yeah,
it-
it's interesting.
Yeah, another great data point would also be, because we had the kilowatt hours on the first screen they showed, right? If we
Right.
could quantify how much that's costing the town, I know that's going to be another first question from the board.
Yeah.
When we talk about adding more, that would be great to see if we could kind of convert it into dollars per month and that sort of thing.
Yep, and I think there's a way to program in what you think your cost of electricity is, and I don't know that number, but it could probably be looked up.
Yeah.
And then a little
It's
multiplication.
about 10 cents per kilowatt hour for commercial buildings here.
Is it?
Or thereabouts, but
How much?
10, I believe, is the commercial rate, something like that. I could be wrong.
Alex, are you aware or anything, have there ever been any discussions about doing level 1 in town?
No. Not that I'm aware of. The kind of industry-led and Dr. Cog-led programs that I attended where I learned about this, no one was interested in talking about level 1. It's
Just
just
'cause
too
the
slow.
expense?
And
Oh, yeah, okay.
do you mean
sorry.
level 3?
That's what I do. I
level
meant
3
to
is the
go the
really
other way.
fast
I always
one?
screw that one up. Yeah.
Level 3 is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the exact cost, but if these stations are 15 grand, I think those are 50 a piece, and then not every vehicle is equipped to charge that quickly. So,
And then, do you know if for some reason in the future, since you were involved in the replacement of these stations, is there the power capability at the 3 points that the town already owns to expand higher than the DC or level 2, or no?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. For these, we had to have an electrician come in and get into the box and read the loads, and I know we were good enough for these ones.
Okay.
There's all kinds of power requirements that I just don't understand that lingo. So.
Yeah, as you can tell, I can't either.
If you wanted to find that out, you'd have to bring in. You could find that out. You'd have to bring in an electrician that was familiar with the charging station load, and then could look at the capacity in the boxes.
Okay.
Oftentimes, level 2 aren't too difficult to put in. They might require minor modifications to the electric system locally, but they're not a huge problem, whereas level 3 can require a lot of additional
significant
infrastructure.
amount.
Because they pull like 11 kilowatts or something like that when they're charging, so it's a lot.
I stay away from electricity. I just plug my things in.
Yeah. But yeah, well, if it's possible to get some either CSV or just images for, I think KWH, if there's any cost data that we can get. And then I saw there's also greenhouse gas emissions offset. I think that'd be great. And then unique users. I think those 4 data points would be really helpful in helping us, approach the board and have something useful to share.
Sure.
So if that's doable, that'd be great.
Okay.
And you're just showing the last 30 days, but it'd be interesting to see over the years. I don't know how long the charging stations have been there, but
Actually, it would be a good one. I mean, that's a
just to
really
see
good
how much it's
question, but
changing with time over the
it'd
long.
be interesting to see since they upgraded the stations, what that difference went to, because I remember when the stations weren't working.
Uh-huh.
If there's a full year's worth of data, that would be, I think, ideal, because then we could see annually kind of generally what we're looking at.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, and I would guess that the greenhouse gas savings, it's probably really similar to the kilowatt hour amount. They probably have some
Eggs prices is pretty
coefficient.
linear, yeah.
Yeah, probably so.
One would hope.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's excellent.
I am assuming now that you can probably only get that if you own those stations, so you probably can't get this detailed information.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the selling points of ChargePoint stations. I mean, they're the industry leader right now in terms of manufacturing and then the data you can get out of them. You know,
And
the stations
Alec-
we had before were not, they weren't capable like this.
And remind me, I know that I had spoken with you about RJ Harrington, who came to speak to the group last year. I don't know if you guys all remember that. He works for ChargePoint, correct?
No, he works for a company called National Car Charging.
Oh, National Car Charging.
And they're a
okay.
vendor for a variety of different electric vehicle charging station manufacturers. National Car Charging, we awarded procurement of the stations to them for this project, for the 3 stations. They came with the low bid, and I worked with RJ pretty extensively to get these in place. He was great. He knows a lot about the different manufacturers and where things are going, and
Right, so I think if the committee is interested in doing, you know, some consulting or something, I know we talked about that before, but we might want to bring that topic around again and see if we want to talk about working with him in 2020 to put some details together.
yeah, he's a great resource.
Probably, yes. Right, do you think he could do the things that maybe you couldn't answer or do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, he's the knowledge man. He knows.
Right.
And he brought in the electrician. He brought in the vendor. He was key in getting these stations installed.
Cool.
Because I guess, and the decision was made to put in 6 too, which even that, I don't know how that decision is made and exactly where they're put in, which is kind of what we're trying to figure out with the downtown area, how
Right.
many and where exactly they would go, so.
Well, there's only 3.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Well,
3,
it's
but.
weird, yeah,
with the
there's 3 stations with 2 ports
2
each.
ports, yeah.
Right.
So I'm just wondering how was it decided to put in the 3 stations instead of 2 or 4? So but it sounds like RJ would be kind of the man who would know about that.
Well, these 3 stations, they were already in place.
Do you know how long ago those were put in?
I think Martin knows. I think he.
So they were just
He worked on that-
upgraded, basically
on that
just
grant, yeah.
upgraded a few years ago?
Correct, yeah, they were upgraded, yeah. They call it a rip and replace program. We ripped off the old ones because they weren't working very well anymore and just replaced it in the same spot.
Do you know when the original ones were put in, or no? Are you not aware of that?
I could guess,
Okay.
2010,
Okay.
Really,
Give
before
plus or
any
minus 6
standard
years,
kind of
that's a
came
good
out? Okay.
margin of error.
Is it possible to get that information to know when the previous, or when the stations were originally installed?
And then when they were
Reference?
replaced, yeah, can you
Yeah.
send?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, that'd be
kind-
great.
Like background, I guess that's what you're really looking for, as much background information as you can get and as much current
Yeah, well, I'm just
usage
thinking,
data.
we've had the existing charging stations, I mean, obviously they've been upgraded, but if they've been around for, almost a decade and we haven't added additional capacity, then that may be an additional reason to consider some added capacity going forward.
Okay.
Especially with all the new improvements to the town center.
Sure.
So,
Oh, yes, so the reality is actually the town doesn't have any usage data from before they were converted to ChargePoint.
That's correct.
Oh, that's interesting, okay. Wasn't really quite putting all that
Yeah,
together.
it simply wasn't a function of those old charging stations.
Okay, very
And-
interesting.
and so Ken, it looks like at a really rough ballpark, it looks like we're at about 30 megawatt hours. So that's, what, $3,000 or so? Is that right? Are you looking at yeah. So roughly, assuming that my memory is correct, and the commercial rate for Excel is about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's about $3,000 a year for all of our current charging. So 6 ports. Yeah. So just as a rough ballpark. Seems reasonable. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So we good?
Yeah, I don't have any additional questions, but thanks so much for coming and talking and showing us all this cool data, because
Sure
I think
thing.
this is really helpful in terms of giving us a benchmark to work off of.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And one last thing, I was trying to look it up, but I can't find it in any of the documents. but there are going to be some charging stations at the Tesla site, aren't there? I know those are going to be specific to Teslas, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least a couple that are going to be on that property.
Okay.
So I
That's
met
been the
with-
pressing question.
Yeah, I met with Matt Magley before this meeting, and he did tell me that. Now, he did say there will be charging stations there, but they'll be strictly for Teslas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yes, there
And
will
I
be.
believe they'll have 2 or 3 charging stations, is I think what I remember hearing at some point.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
what I
could change,
remember. I
but
just,
Of other types or just Teslas?
just for Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
so-
that's just really unfortunate.
But I think that's another reason it'd be helpful for the town to support other
Yeah.
types of electric vehicles too, beyond just Teslas, so. Cool. That's it for me. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah,
So-
thank you.
So, and before we move on, I realized that Caitlin, who usually takes notes, is not here. So I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah.
there's someone up there who is jotting down notes who can do that for us.
I didn't even bring a
I
piece
have
of
a
paper.
computer, I
have a
could
pen.
do it, but I've missed a lot.
And that's okay. We can start from this point on, and we'll have a video that someone can go back.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the members can always go back to the video and jot down things as
I
well.
vote for the guy with the computer.
Unless somebody wants to borrow this, that would be nice.
Who wants to make a computer?
So yeah, I'll just need someone to send me
Okay.
your notes.
Anybody else want to take notes on, you're welcome to use my computer.
I will decline, mainly because I forgot to say I need to leave at 6:30. My only comment about all this, and that was really interesting information, is I know that, I don't know even when the town directive came to upgrade those stations, I know it didn't come through this committee. And so I think it's all kind of,
Seems like there's some missing information.
yeah, and it's
links
like,
there.
yeah, there's not some like roundabout sort of stuff or discussion with this committee in regard to like, hey, what could work, what do you think we
Like I s-
need, how do we get what we need?
I think I was here when RJ came in, but yeah, I don't remember I don't remember talking about the existing
No.
stations at that time with him.
Yeah, I don't think we covered that in the discussion.
So, yeah, that'd be awesome, Karen, if you were able to provide any background on like how that even came about. Like, I'm assuming maybe somebody inside Public Works realized they were useless because they were broken, and that's fine, but it's kind of unfortunate that it's not circling through somewhere, committee-wise, to see like if it's really suiting everything that's needed.
Yeah, I can definitely inquire about any
Awesome.
sort of background info that we have on the 3 stations that we have.
Thank you.
It'd also be interesting too, because if the board is interested in, for example, changing the commercial building codes to support EV charging, then we may not need to go through with a full, $2,000 or $3,000 consultant anyway, because it could just be sort of something that's done automatically. And it'd be a lot faster than waiting until next year, hiring a consultant and then waiting for the results. So maybe there's some way to put together an initial proposal for the board, and then the board can consider it. And if they reject us completely out of hand, then we'll go back to getting a consultant, but maybe that would be a faster way to potentially push things forward.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. And if you,
Okay.
maybe in between this meeting and next meeting, if you guys can pull together whatever it is you'd want to support a recommendation with, and then make a recommendation at the next meeting,
That'd be
we can then
great.
get you guys into the presentations section of an agenda. That way you come forward as quick as possible.
You can use it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
No, I think that'd be a really good
We
goal.
want to make sure that Mike is going to be here at the next meeting,
Yeah.
or if he can, that he.
Well, and maybe it's something where, like, I can work on pulling together the information from Alex and then work with Mike too to make sure we're all on the same page. And then we could, potentially I could share that via email before our next session, and then we can just approve it at the next meeting.
And there must be some language from a local community that we can borrow, steal, whatever for
Yeah, I
We'd
think
like
if we
to
have
see
some
what-
specific examples, so it's just like, we can include this language in the building code and then.
When he was
Yeah.
saying that document, even though it's from 2015, had that in there, so that would be good.
Mhm. I also know some folks at Sweep too, so maybe I'll just reach out and see if they have any newer information they want to share with us.
Cool, thank you.
All right. So next is the Partners in Energy application. And Lisa, I think you said you were interested in working on that?
I am, and I just, handed in my last big report at 12:30 today.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
So I can pull together a draft in the next week or so.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. And feel free to reach out if there's anything else that we can do to help support
No,
that.
I know some people wanted to help, so yeah, I'm happy to
Yeah, I think.
circulate it and, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm ambivalent, but happy to help if needed.
Yeah. I'll make clear, fill in something here.
Sounds good. Cool, thanks. Any other questions or anything people want to say about the Partners in Energy application? Cool.
Seemed like it could be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
If they get us the data we need, then it'll be really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to the Green Business Awards and recognition. Caitlin sent an email, so
You
I'll
gonna read
just-
her email to us?
I'll try to summarize rather than reading it entirely. She said that all companies have been notified of their award status, and she's heard back from one of the 4 companies. Lafayette and Louisville are opening applications for their programs this month, and so Caitlin was wondering if we could do an e-blast through the town with congratulations to our 2018 green businesses, along with the application link for the 2019 program. Is that something we could do?
Yeah, absolutely. If that's the only info that you want included in it, I can go from that. If there's something else that you want included, if someone could just send me a quick email, just like Eileen, what you did last time for the yard waste site was perfect. So I don't know if you want to just kind of put all that info together
Oh,
and
sure.
shoot me an email,
Yeah.
and then I can draft the e-blast from
Oh,
that.
yeah, I can do that, of course.
Cool, thanks. And then Caitlin said for Karen that she'd be happy to pick up the decals at town hall and distribute them to the businesses. Or I guess you had talked about inviting them to an upcoming town council meeting for recognition from the board. So either one of those.
Yep, so I have the decals with me tonight. I got her email after I brought them with me, but
Okay.
we can do that. Or I know that when I spoke with Manager Magley, he was definitely open to recognizing them at a town board meeting. It would just need to be an official recommendation and coordinated via you guys. You know, we can put it on the agenda and get all the proclamation and all that taken care of, but if someone from the committee could reach out to the businesses, make sure that either one, if they're interested in being here to be recognized, or if it's just something that they want, you know, to be recognized verbally, but that would have to come from the committee.
I think you guys should do it. I'm sorry to be pushy like that, but just since Caitlin doesn't happen to be here, and she's gonna pick up the stickers
Mhm.
later, it'd actually be kind of easy for her to be like at the same time. Get that
Yeah.
from them, and we can have the town prepared then if they do want to do it and have something more on the schedule.
So basically have Caitlin take the decals to them and get their interest as to whether they want to be recognized or not, and then kind of move from there.
Yeah, because there's no chance, like, you would know the timing ahead of her being able to pick those up and do that, correct?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to shoot an email to Manager Magley and find out what town board agenda we could get it on, and just kind of go from there.
Okay. That'd be good maybe if you had that for her. Because then
Okay.
she can at least say to the businesses, hey, we were thinking about doing it
Okay.
this date if you were interested.
Okay.
And then that way they can drop or hold it, or, I'm sorry, drop it or keep it.
Okay.
Or if that doesn't work for how town meetings are. I don't know.
I think that sounds like a good approach. And that way they get their decals sooner rather than later, and then we can also gauge interest at the same time.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable.
Okay. I
Okay.
will look into town board dates.
Cool, thanks. Next is an update on the Boulder County Sustainability Matching Grant and lease sort. So
This will be really,
Take it away.
this will be pretty quick. I just wanted mainly to let Karen know how we're doing on tracking on the matching and so on.
Okay.
So I don't have your hours, and I don't have the committee's hours. So any hours that the committee has spent, you know, discussing or reviewing any of the materials I sent around or anything like that, please let me know because they count toward the matching that we have. But we're currently at 72-ish% of the match, so I think we're doing okay. And dollar-wise, that includes staff time and or person time at their appointed dollar rate per hour, and postcards and, you know, printing and postage and so on.
Okay.
So I think that's fine, because we haven't yet written the report, we haven't yet done the quote toolkit, end quote, or all that. And they did the waste, the sort last week and Monday of this week. I tried to get the results, as you saw,
Yes.
for today, because I spoke to somebody at the conference and told them I was going to be asking for it, and they said, oh, well, maybe, but it looks like it'll be next week or the week after, and so when I get it, I'll circulate it, so you all can see where we are. And I gave you a little summary of the project and what the next steps are, and that's it. And just trying to keep it a little low-key, because we don't want to alert people to study up and influence the survey, so.
Okay.
And then,
I'm sorry.
just go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I thought that was nice of that one citizen to
Oh.
email the group
Yeah, that was
and
great.
say thank you.
Wasn't
I was
that
like,
great?
"Aw." So I don't know if Essie or somebody wrote back.
That was really
I haven't
nice.
had a chance to, but I will.
It's in here.
Oh, cool.
It's on the
That's in one of your
presentation
pages.
thing, the
Cool,
one
that was
page.
just so awesome. It's like, yay.
Yeah, that was really awesome to see, so, thanks.
Yeah. And it's not a requirement when residents, send emails like that to respond. The committee can decide how they want to respond to,
Oh, right, I
to emails that come to you. So I like the idea of having the chair or vice chair, put something
idea.
together as a response, but that's completely up to you guys. I'm not directing that.
Yeah, I'm happy to respond.
Thanks.
Totally do it.
Yeah, I can write together a quick email.
And then the only other thing, Lisa, I just wanted to touch base on the next update, I believe, is like July 14th or something
Oh,
like
okay.
that for the grant.
Okay.
So you'll have
Let's
that on
coordinate.
your, yeah. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, next is 2020 budget recommendations. And when do we have to have our recommendations finalized by?
So I don't have a specific date. I know
Okay.
that starting in June.
Yeah, I feel like we just hit two. Yeah. Yeah.
This meeting is a good meeting to kind of discuss and talk about what we might want to put in
Okay.
for 2020. And then in July, we'll want to make sure that we have a specific recommendation captured in our notes. Because I do want to update you as far as, I know you had asked me last time to kind of look into what we received in 2019. Because there was no specific dollar amount recommendation captured in notes. We just received our $5,000, just like all the other committees received.
Okay.
So we didn't receive any additional funding or anything because there wasn't a specific recommendation captured in the notes that went on to the budget committee. So we'll want to make sure that that happens this year, and that's another reason why I did send an email out to all chairs and vice chairs, reminding them to make sure that they put that on their agenda for June and then July to make that recommendation and make sure the specifics of that recommendation and a vote are captured in the notes. So we still have time if we want to make a recommendation, because I don't think we have enough data anyway. I did pull the notes from June of last year where we kind of talked through getting a consultant to do the EV charging work, but there was no specifics. It just said, yes, we think that's a good idea. And then down below it says something about we would put that together for a 2020 budget recommendation.
Right.
So I think I think that there was some confusion. I think some people kind of thought we had money in 2019, but we.
Yeah, I think there was a weird timeline.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
remember this conversation, we're just like, well, let's just at least get the 5,000 so we know that we
Right.
can have what we need.
Yep, and so we did receive that, just like all the committees, but there was no additional funding. So we'll want to make sure through this discussion process that we talk through and kind of outline and get it captured in the notes, specifically what projects we're interested in additional funding for. And obviously they have to relate to the work plan.
And you have to have that for next month and decided on next
Yes.
month as well. So
If we were-
tonight would be a good night
Yeah.
to
Will there
say
be a
something.
quorum next month? It doesn't sound like,
Yeah, so no one has said
and
to
we
me.
can't vote by email, as I recall.
No.
Yeah, actually, I think
I'll
last
be here
year.
next month.
Yeah.
I should be here next month.
Okay. I'll be here.
I won't. I'll be by phone.
And so,
We can
so
do
you
Lisa.
can call in by phone, but you can't count towards quorum or vote over the phone.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
We need a good idea of who's going to be here next month. And that may have been the problem last year too.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was,
all
because
last
we
year
never
was
had a
a
quorum.
Yeah,
Right,
because
right.
we had
And actually, in that
vacancies.
meeting that I pulled the notes from, it says no quorum present. And so I think that's the
Right.
other reason why
Yeah.
nothing moved forward, was because there wasn't a quorum.
Yeah, we were stuck for a while.
We might need to remind everybody, try to be here next month if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll
Everybody
just
who
need
can
5
be.
members. I mean, we have
Just.
quorum here tonight.
Yeah.
But she won't be here.
But she's
I
getting
won't
kicked
be
out,
here.
so.
Sorry, I'm looking at Michelle, but.
Getting kicked out.
You know, that's what I'm
Just
saying.
one more
You're a
meeting.
regular attender,
Right.
attendee.
Um,
And I leave the state starting after this meeting, so.
Yeah, so
Well,
Essie, I don't know if you want to send out an email to all the members and make sure that everyone
Yeah.
is, you know, those who aren't here this evening are going to be here in July,
Okay, and that's the 11th.
the 11th.
Mhm. So if we request additional budget for EV consultant, and then later on we decide we don't need that money, is that problematic? Or do we kind of need to use it if we request it, or how does that?
Well, we'd find a use for it, but do we have to?
I mean,
Does it have to be
yeah.
line item?
I'd be happy to
earmark
find a use for
Is
it,
it,
but.
is the line item sacred or not?
It could always be reprogrammed. So, I mean, if it does go for electric vehicles, but that use goes away, if you guys have a better use, you can always propose it, or the town board could always shift it to something else.
Thanks.
We
So
have to request.
could we?
Let's pass something today.
Well, that's what I was thinking, we
Yes,
could at
that's
least pass
a
a
good
proposal
lead.
for the EV consultant, and
Let's
then
do
if there are
that.
additional projects, we can always bring that up
That's
next
a
time
really-
if we have a quorum, but.
Make
Good
clear
idea.
notes, buddy.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
so, yes, so let's make sure that this is captured.
Unfortunately, I
I'll
can't
second
remember.
it.
So it's a motion and a second,
Yeah,
and you
what
want
is
to
the
make
mo,
sure
what is
that
the motion? I
everyone.
want the
Yeah,
word.
Essie,
Right,
what's the
what's the
motion?
wording of the
Well,
motion?
before we get to the motion, how much money were we talking about previously for the consultant? I can't remember exactly what figure we were talking about.
3,000?
I think it was 3,000.
Oh.
I think we
So
just
my-
pulled that out of the sky.
My
but-
recollection was 8,000.
I thought 6, so yeah, I think it's, I think it's a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do 7.
7 is-
Since I thought it was 6 and you thought it was 8.
Where did I get 3,000 from?
I
I
don't
don't know.
either.
Maybe it was an additional 3,000 on top of the 5,000 we have. I don't know.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
So,
Because I don't remember exactly what the figure was that.
actually, should we ask
decided
for
on.
8 then? Maybe we should ask for 8 because we may not get
Oh.
all of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
makes sense.
That
So-
8,000 additional, and we'll still get 5,000?
on top of
That's the
5,000.
request.
For
Right.
one-time use for EV consulting,
Yes.
plus the 5,000, plus continue all the programs that the town currently supports, right?
Yeah.
Remember, there always having to be that little disclaimer as well,
Yep,
right?
that's right. Good job,
Motion by
Michelle.
Horton, second by Skumaz.
So let's make sure that Jonathan has it done.
Okay.
Yes.
We can
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
through it.
I want to
Make
get
sure
the
he has
wording
it.
on this
Yeah.
just right. Okay, what do you want to say? Request an additional 8,000 funding for,
For EV
20.
consultant,
Mhm.
To determine whatever town, do we have to be super specific on that?
I think EV consultant would cover it.
Okay, cool.
plus she said,
You might want to write out
$5,000
electric
for the
vehicle.
committee.
Electric vehicle, just to
Yeah.
make sure that the
Electric
town board
vehicle
knows
cost,
exactly what
she
you're talking
said.
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good call.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know that everybody else on the board
You can
would
be our translator.
would make that connection.
Yeah.
All right.
okay, hold on.
Yeah.
It's the pressure,
The
man.
pressure's on.
I'm just stating it for you.
Okay,
I wasn't pushing.
plus continuing funds for
Plus
what's already.
continue
in
the funding for
For all
the
current
program slate that we have. That we have what? That we've had on the books, or I don't know, that we've been running the last.
Well,
few
remember how
that's,
it was
that's
worded
part, that's
last
part
year.
of the 5,000, right?
Right.
No, because we're talking about the, like, household hazardous waste, the garden in a box, that is not part of our,
Okay.
that does not come out of our 5,000 pool. Do we have to be specific on each of these? I thought
No.
that we've
The way
been
it
able to
was-
say before, like.
Yeah, the way it was stated was current, current and existing, I can't remember exactly how it was stated, but it was like current and existing programs supported by the, supported by ACES through the town.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
thanks for your help on
You
this.
good?
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
Pieces.
We'll get better at
Supported by
writing these, I'm
ACES
sure.
Through the town.
Yeah.
yes.
Thanks.
And let me just put a couple of examples in. What are those?
Well, garden in a box would be one, household hazardous waste event.
Audits.
Oh, yes, energy audits.
Energy audits.
Mhm.
And other programs.
and
Yeah, you can
Resource
put and
Central
others.
seminars.
I know that there's the recycling programs through the school
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
supported by ACES, but is done through the town.
Right.
Yep.
There's actually quite a
He's not-
hefty
Got a
list,
couple in
really,
there.
if you think about it.
Right,
But
right.
no, that's a good way to say that.
Right.
And then plus, and did you put the 5,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's in the motion, Michelle.
Do you want to read it? Yeah, Michelle. Horton.
Yeah, if you would just want to read it back, just to make sure we've captured everything, that'd be helpful.
ACES requests an additional 8,000 funding for 2020 for an EV consultant, plus 5,000, I should say, but
For committee allocation or something.
Yeah, the
Standard committee
yes.
allocation.
That's a good one. I'm trying to figure out a way to say that, standard committee allocations.
Plus.
plus continue funding for the current and existing programs supported by ACES through the town.
Such as.
Such
and-
as.
Yeah, and we have those all on our radar, so
Mhm.
we'll make sure
Perfect.
that those.
Okay.
I just know that those had to be included, because
Yep.
if we don't ask, they
Okay,
could just be like,
second
oh.
by Spinelli.
Okay.
SKUMATT.
Listen.
All in favor?
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Passes unanimous.
Okay, good.
And
then
a quorum, yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
so that
job
way you
there
guys can
for
just update
bringing
it
that up.
next time.
Good
Yeah, if there's
idea
anything
to get
extra.
it tonight.
Very good.
Thanks. Yeah, and then we'll update as needed if there's anything else that comes up next time, assuming we have a quorum.
Yeah.
So I think that sounds good.
I'll do some thinking.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks for
Save me
capturing
five.
that. All right, so final item of the evening is for researching commercial recycling opportunities and exploring the possibility of a business association coordinating waste collection for downtown Superior, and communicating with Ranch Capital. So this is something we had talked about in the past. And just wanted to get thoughts or ideas on this and how we can kind of move that forward to make sure that there are waste options.
What, I mean, I know this is sort of, we've kind of touched on this, but not really gotten an answer. We don't even know what they're required to do. I know it's something I said before that we discussed it some years back when we were reviewing, I can't remember what it was, the building codes and stuff like that.
They're required to have space for recycling. I don't know if they're required to have recycling collection or not.
Mhm. So we really need somebody from the town to come.
We do. Can we get a report, maybe?
So it is in the municipal code. If you just want to search in the municipal code for,
I know there's space, but I don't know if they have to have collection.
so whatever's in the municipal
in the
code is
municipal
what,
code.
that's what they have to
Okay.
have. So if it's not in the municipal code, then it's not a requirement.
And so, and one of the things that, so who, do each of the businesses over there have, provide their own service, or do they have it as a joint thing? I think that's the point of this. Do you know?
So that I don't know.
I can tell you that I know for sure at the Safeway Shopping Center that the owner of that property contracts for the services out there for all of the tenants.
I'm
and
worried
does
about over
not-
there.
And does not provide
Recycling.
certain options as part of that. So I would assume that's unfortunately the standard answer, but
Yeah. What about across the street, though? That's what I'm really concerned about, because that's not yet embedded or
Yeah.
entrenched or whatever.
So I can ask that question and I can either shoot that answer or bring it at the next meeting.
That'd be great, because yeah, I think this issue of requiring service and requiring, integrated service just is a lot cheaper than
It
everybody
is.
doing their own little thing, so.
Mhm.
And there is I think I probably brought up this, liquor license is under our control, right, as I recall?
Yes.
Okay, because I remember those hearings.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there are laws in even places that maybe people don't ordinarily think of as green, in North Carolina, that say that any business that holds a liquor license that doesn't have a recycling program can have their liquor license revoked. And they get 100% compliance,
Wasn't
not
thinking-
shockingly.
well, but the funny thing is, think about how much recyclables they have coming through theirs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's called the ABC law, all beverage containers.
Huh.
And I think something like that might move things along, especially as there are you know, a couple of restaurants over there, at least one. And anyway, I think a program like that might be a kind of a visible signal sort of thing. And the enforcement process is really compelling to them.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
And I know there'd be some pushback on it, just kind of having been on that side of things, but it's funny to even think, and I don't know if I can even help on this in future, but I'd be happy to. I know that in analyzing this for our family's business, that my dad had always resisted doing any recycling because he just didn't want to be bothered with the cost. Well, the fact is I proved to him that it would cost us less to have
Did it?
recycling and waste.
And that's not always the case. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of, right now, he only just had waste. It was a very
Cool.
interesting thing. He just never looked at it that way.
Didn't even try.
Yeah, you know, and he's different. He's up in Larimer County, but they actually do less recycling up there in general, so it would kind of surprise me. Fort Collins has mandated you have to have recycling
The
and
universal recycling
trash.
ordinance now.
Yeah. But he's not in Fort Collins, so he's in Loveland, so.
That same thing happened at NOAA. Someone kind of spearheaded an effort to
Cool.
include recycling
Oh.
and it's ended up saving money.
Yeah, it's funny that you have this
Yeah.
mindset, so I think it would be like somebody coming at it like being like, oh, we should do this thing, you've just got to counter it with the businesses, like it can actually be cheaper. They're just so scared of having to spend any more money on anything, and the building owners especially just want to do everything as cheaply as possible, so.
Yes.
But yeah,
And
that,
space is a premium sometimes too.
It is.
But yeah.
but it'd be good, yeah, if you guys could have somebody from the town the next meeting, because then you could maybe have somebody from Ranch Capital at the next one and demand what their plans are. So,
Maybe they can get those green business awards.
Yeah.
They're not even recycling.
I like it.
It's kind of alarming. Did you say that Safeway Plaza, they don't recycle, Michelle?
I
I
think
didn't
they offer
realize that.
limited recycling is what I was told too, but they don't do a lot. And I know Starbucks as a standalone does not do it, although company-wide, I know they're making some changes, so I don't know how that's changed. But it's just, they only have space for this container, so that's all they tend to put in there, and you have to have a separate container for trash and a separate container for recycling, and they'll often just choose the one. And since that center was built when it was, the
Yeah.
guy running it only went for that. So, that being trash,
So,
sorry.
if the committee is interested, I could, pull together the language from other places and we could see if it would fly along
Sure,
like
if
that.
you wouldn't mind,
No,
that'd be
it's
helpful.
easy.
Just get started on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, so I'll
What
go
is
ahead
it-
and keep that.
What does our what does our town board person think about something like that? I know generally you haven't been that interested in putting restrictions on businesses, which I understand, but I also know that recycling is of interest this
Yeah.
year.
Personally, I think it's a great idea. And I think, I don't have a firm read on how the rest of the board would think, but I think the current board is probably more receptive to these types of ideas than prior boards may have been. Related, I was going to give a update at the very end, but it's
It is pretty much the end.
related. I did talk to you guys, I think it was 2 months ago, I missed the last meeting, but I said I would follow up on the state legislative session and what was happening with the preemption on being able to make rules to ban plastic, single-use plastic. And ultimately, nothing occurred during the session about that. However, that is one of 3 primary 2020 goals to address, and that's already been stated. So my guess is that in the next legislative session, you're going to see that state preemption go away, and then we can basically have the conversation of anything and everything.
Fantastic. Maybe we could follow Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Canada can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So that'd be something that we'd have to definitely gauge community interest on, and probably be a heavy lift, but I absolutely think it's worth exploring and would be
Thanks.
great.
Thanks.
Cool. Thanks,
And
Mark.
the legislative session already also had one other big recycling thing pass, which is a grants program.
Mhm.
So for Front Range communities, there's a massive grants program that's going to be available about $10 million a year instead of $1 million a year.
Nice.
And communities are the ones, Front Range communities are the ones encouraged to apply for it. And it's for all kinds of different programs. Pay as you throw, comprehensive plans, infrastructure, whatever you think you need. So I think we should definitely get on the radar for that.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds great.
I testified 4 times for that.
See how useful you are?
Any other final comments about this item? All right, so we'll follow up at the next meeting.
Okay.
Sounds great. Cool. Well, thanks, everyone. We can
All
go ahead
right.
and adjourn.
Thanks. I'll miss
Just
y'all.
almost in time for you.
Good.
All right.
I'll miss y'all.
I will miss you so much.
Maybe I'll be back in a year. We'll see.
I do hope
Yeah,
so.
See if it's
see you
full
again
or
at some
not.
point. Yeah.
I promise I'll keep an eye on that, because like if for some reason there's a sitting opening, I may apply in the interim for another committee, and you can't serve on 2 at one time, so I have to.
I remember that, yeah.
Maybe I'll go back to your favorite.
Well, not just that.